Krishna's eternal, and in Krishna's devotees are eternal. Even Prabhupada said that to his disciples, because they were all feeling very sad that he was going to die. And Prabhupada said that we will again meet in the spiritual sky, in the
Mm.
Vaikuntha. That the relationship between the spiritual master and disciple, Prabhupada said, that is eternal. That's not temporary, that's eternal. So, so that relationship will continue. So after our bodies die, the spiritual master and the disciple, after our bodies are gone, then we can rejoin in the spiritual world in spiritual bodies like
Mm.
that. And people think that's the same with our material relationships, but not necessarily. We think, I'll be together with my partner again in the next life or whatever, but not necessarily. It depends on the karma. But even if we were together, you wouldn't remember. You wouldn't remember that. Oh, I know you. You were my wife, my husband in the last life. No, we wouldn't remember. So it's not very helpful. So the best thing is to go back to Godhead, and then our consciousness is never going to be wiped off like that. But when you said it, when you mentioned the word difficult before, it reminded me of a pastime in Prabhupada's stories in ISKCON, where Prabhupada had arrived from the airport to one center, and one of his bags was missing, one of his luggage was missing, and one devotee was left back at the airport to track down that piece of luggage. And he was feeling really bummed out that, I'm going to miss, Prabhupada's arrival in the temple, and it's going to be a big kirtan and a talk and feast and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to miss that. But anyway, this is service to the spiritual master. So he accepted that, and it was a big trip, and it took hours and hours to track down that piece of luggage. And it was a big, heavy suitcase. And then he had to figure out how to get it to the temple, because obviously the temple vehicles had all left. So they left him all by himself. So he probably had to arrange a taxi or something. I don't even know if he had much money. But somehow he managed to get the piece of luggage and himself back to the temple. And then Prabhupada's room was up the top of the stairs. And then it's a heavy suitcase. So he was trying to figure out how to get it up, and the way he found was the only way to get it up is he had to go first, but backwards. So he had to go backwards up the steps with this
Oh God.
pulling this big piece of suitcase behind him, and he was straining like anything. Finally, he managed to get to the door at the top, which is the door to Prabhupada's room. And now he can't let go of the suitcase because it's going to go back down again. So with one hand, he's holding the suitcase handle. With the other hand, he turned the handle on the door. And
Oh,
when he turned the handle of the door flew open inwards, and he fell backwards into the room,
oh,
still clutching on the suitcase. And he was on the floor, like, it was just so, he was like just exhausted. And Prabhupada was looking at him. And it was like Prabhupada could visualize all the troubles he went through in that day. It's like he could just knew it all. And Prabhupada said, um, it is difficult now in this world, but when you go back to Godhead, it will become easy.
oh God.
So
Okay.
that's how we can pacify ourselves. That even like today, I mean, I was just a struggle from morning till night, because I mean, it didn't help. There was an eclipse early this morning, so that was probably part of the reason why things didn't go very well today. But um, so but what can give us relief in the difficulties that we all face, or whether you're a non-devotee or a devotee, I mean, everyone has difficulties, but we can help to reconcile that this world is a difficult place by and pacify our mind that if we just stick on with Krishna consciousness, then eventually we'll break through this door of the material world into the spiritual world. It was like, on one side of the door was all the struggles he faced, and as soon as he got through the door into Prabhupada's room, then it was like
Mm.
Vaikuntha. And then Prabhupada said that to him, that when you get to the spiritual world, it will become easy. And then he felt such great relief, and then it makes it easier to tolerate the difficulties. When we know the difficulties are just temporary, and that on the other side of that, we can look forward to going back to Godhead and and reawakening our eternal relationships with Krishna and all the other wonderful devotees, that we're part of a spiritual family, a gigantic spiritual family like that. So that makes it easier. Otherwise, if you're just conscious, oh, it's one difficulty and then another difficulty and then another one and then another one, it's like never ending. But actually, it will come to an end. And especially, like I said, if we're staunch in our Krishna consciousness, then it definitely will come to an end. Ultimately, when the body dies, and then so we also have to go through the death of the body. We can't avoid that. But what we can avoid is the birth of the next one. So that's where we break the cycle of transmigration, of reincarnation. We've gone through this birth of this body, and we have to go through the old age, and we have to go through disease, and then we have to go through death, but then we don't have to take birth again. So that's where a devotee can break the cycle, and the non-devotee can't break the cycle. They have to take birth due to their, karma and their material desires. And that also reminds me how the difficulties continue even for the devotee, right? There was one wonderful Prabhupada disciple. His name is Atma Tattva, an Indian body, and he did great service, for 50 years. One of the great services he did was help to get the wonderful Ugra Nrsimha deity in Mayapur, Nrsimhadev, the incredible, fierce
Oh,
Nrsimhadev in Mayapur. So he helped to arrange that deity to be made and then transported from South India. That deity was uh, made in South India. And so he was part of that whole process. So, I mean, even that by itself was such an amazing service. And I heard him talking about Prabhupada, and it was just so ecstatic. And then, anyway, recently, he's very old now, of course. He must be in his mid-80s or something. So what happened, he wasn't in very good health, but he was in his room and he fell over and banged his head on the door and fell unconscious. And also in the process of falling down, he broke his hip. So he
oh,
banged his head, broke his hip, and then the way he fell in the room, you couldn't open the door because he's on the inside of the room and but he's against the door. So they couldn't get to him for many hours, and there was a pool of blood that came underneath outside the door. That's how much blood there was. He lost a lot of blood. Eventually, after many hours, they managed to get him out of the room and take him to the hospital. And then and then he had to go through so many operations and everything like that. He had to have a hip replacement right then and there, and then put a lot of blood back into him, sew up his head, and all these kind of things. So he spent many days there, and it cost a lot of money also, like lakhs and lakhs and lakhs. And his insurance apparently only covered half of it. And then, so that's another, not only his problem, but now there's a problem other people have to face is where to get the money from. And then they let him out, and then he said, I'm having trouble breathing. And they said to him, oh, it's just in your mind. It's just in your mind. But it was not just in his mind. He actually, couldn't breathe. So they actually had to go back to another hospital, and then they had to sort out something like that. And then the people there thought he's going to die. He's not going to live. It was so bad. And then there was messages sent out through the wonderful, that's a good thing with the internet. The word was sent out that Atmatatma is going to like die. All the devotees should like pray around the world, should pray to Krishna and Nrsimhadev to please save Atmatatma. And everyone, the doctors thought he's going to die, and everyone thought he's going to die. And then miraculously, he came okay within a short period of time, and then he got out of hospital like that. So it's like that was the most effective thing was all the prayers of the devotees because we think the doctor's going to save us and the money's going to save us and my family's going to save us. Actually, nothing can save us except for God. Only God can save us ultimately. Even you got the best insurance policies and protection and all this kind of thing materially. But if Krishna wants to get rid of you, you're gone. But if Krishna's, protecting you, nothing can kill you. And that came out in the Prahlad pastime. Hiranyakashipu tried to kill Prahlad in so many ways, and he couldn't kill Prahlad because he's protected by God. And then God decided to kill Hiranyakashipu, and nothing could protect him, even though he had all these benedictions from Lord Brahma, but that he couldn't be killed in the day and the night by any animal or demigod or anything, but nothing could protect him. So there's a saying like that, Rake Krishna Mare Ke, Mare Krishna Rake Ke. If Krishna wants to kill you, no one can protect you. And if Krishna wants to protect you, no one can kill you like that. So that's the best insurance policy. And especially if all the devotees are praying, then Krishna's, very, pleased by the devotees' service and under their control. And he will definitely reciprocate. So if you've got thousands of devotees praying that, please, help you get better. Oh, we're blessed. We got special darshan.
Yeah. And it will become soon.
You were unmanifest for the first 15 minutes.
Are you in Auckland?
Yeah, I'm in Auckland. Yeah.
You're looking cold down there. It's hot up here. I've only got my shirt on. You got your beanie on and your jumper and
Yeah, it is quite cold. And looks like some thunderstorms are coming our way now.
Oh, okay. Mm.
Yeah.
The
Deepa?
whole material world is like a big thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anyway, those were some nice stories. But yeah, it's like very sobering, because we might think, well, what Atmatatma's a devotee for 50 years, how come he had to go through so much suffering like that, being injured in a room and stuck trapped in there and like losing all that blood and so many problems. But Krishna also uses the devotees to teach us a lesson that, material world's a miserable place. There's nothing you can do about that. Even we see that here, Arjuna here in the Bhagavad Gita, he's a pure devotee. Why does Arjuna's been suffering for years and years? Him and his brothers were all exiled. They were the kings of the world, and then they were after a gambling match, and they were all exiled, and then they were their house they were in was burnt down, and then their Bhima was poisoned, and so many things, and their wife was insulted. Draupadi was like stripped down almost naked in the assembly of everyone watching. It was like so many trials and tribulations. But Krishna's showing that even you're a devotee, then but still the material world's a miserable place, and that's the impetus to go back to Godhead. Imagine if actually you become a devotee and everything becomes so nice and rosy all the time, then you wouldn't want to go back to Godhead anymore. Well, this is quite nice. I'm a devotee, all my problems have gone away. I can just relax and enjoy. But no, it's not like that. You can't relax and enjoy. It's like that. It's always, some difficulties there.
Yeah.
Even the Lord himself, like look at Lord Ram's pastimes. He's God. God has come to the world. Look at what he had to go through. His wife was Sita was stolen by a Rakshasa, a man-eating demon, Ravana. And how much anxiety, he was put in and trying to get his wife back and everything like that. So many difficulties. Had to build the bridge across the ocean and then fight all the Rakshasas and everything, it's like, but even before that, right, he was about to become the emperor of the world, but Dasharath, one of his other wives, co-wives, said, no, I don't want Ram to be the king, I want Bharat to be the king. So then I want Ram to be exiled for 13 years. So I mean, that's pretty traumatic. You've gone from I'm nearly going to become the emperor of the world, and then suddenly see you, mate, you're out in the forest with nothing, for like over a decade. That's pretty crazy. And then during the exile, then his wife's taken away also. And, so God's showing himself by his own example that, doesn't matter who you are, but that's the nature of the material world. There's so many difficulties. But the thing is that we're learning is that in these difficulties, just try to remember Krishna. And then that makes it bearable, that makes it easier. And then eventually, in due course, we can go back to Krishna.
Mm.
Mm.
Now I've been following a little bit as much as I can. Because who Jayapataka Maharaj is also having health challenges and
Mm.
quite
Mm.
uh, yeah. But my mom always used to. My mom said she often said that these challenges sometimes it's to counter, you know, any like bad karma kind of thing, to clear the road so that, yeah, to clear the road back to
Mm. Mm.
something to that effect. Yeah.
Although if it's a pure devotee we're talking about, then there's no karma. There's no karma because once the devotee surrenders to the Lord, then the Lord takes away all of his karma. So it might
Mm.
not be so applicable for a devotee. But there can be other reasons, like I was saying, the Lord uses the devotee to teach us that, that even you're a really good person, but still the nature of the material world is a very difficult place, a very hard place. But the devotee, of course, is very humble. The devotee is not thinking I'm free from sins. Like that the devotee's thinking I'm very sinful. But in actual fact, the devotee's not sinful because he's surrendered to Krishna and stopped sinful activities, and Krishna's cleared off all the past bad karma, sinful reactions. But the devotee is always very humble, thinking I'm very sinful and, I deserve to suffer a lot more, but Krishna has minimized it. Krishna's reduced it a lot. I was with a devotee once in an ambulance because the end of his finger was cut off, clean off. And he said, I deserve to have my whole arm cut off, but Krishna's so kind and he just reduced it and just cut the tip off my finger like that. So that's how a devotee thinks. I deserve to suffer a lot more because of my past karma, but Krishna's made it a lot less than actually what I deserve like that. So he always sees, everything in a very positive way, sees everything in relation to Krishna. And then in that way, everything's very positive. Even so-called, apparently very negative things, but the devotee can see it in a very positive way because he sees it that somehow it's this Krishna's mercy. Everything that happens is Krishna's mercy, like that. Even sometimes materialists can understand something like that, like there was this one family, their dream was to have this wonderful cruise on this on this cruise ship, have this cruise on a cruise ship, and they've been saving up for years to go on this special cruise. And one of the family members got terribly sick, like just before the day of the ship leaving. And they were all just so bummed out that their dream was like shattered. They missed the boat, missed the boat. And then sometime later, the news came that the Titanic had sunk because that was the boat they were supposed to go on. And then they, oh my God, thank God we missed the boat. So like that, even apparently at the time we think, wow, why me? Why this had to happen? I don't deserve this. But later on we might realize, oh, actually that was God's mercy like that, so. Because we're not seeing the big picture. We're only seeing the small picture like that, and we're thinking, oh yeah, this is so important and everything, and why didn't I get this or whatever? But actually, in the whole big universal scheme of things, it was not what was meant to happen like that. So a devotee just leaves everything in Krishna's hands. Whatever happens, what we think is good or bad, but ultimately a devotee sees everything is good, everything's in under Krishna's control. Krishna knows what's best. He has a plan to get me back to Godhead, even though I'm so stupid and attached to staying in this world, but Krishna's trying to get me out of here, even though I'm clinging on. But Krishna has a plan to help get me out of here. So the devotee just accepts everything as the will of the Lord and for our ultimate benefit. Okay, let's continue on. We'll just offer respect to Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with the shining torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances to his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Giant T, at any point are you going to become manifest or are you going to remain unmanifest?
The battery runs out. I'm not going to do it.
Just plug it in. Plug it in.
What plug it in?
Manifest and unmanifest. I love it.
Okay. Okay. But are you going to read? Are you going to read? Is that going to stop you from reading?
No, why would it stop me from reading?
Okay, so you are going to take part. Okay, that's the main thing. Okay, we continue reading the Bhagavad Gita from chapter 10, entitled The Opulence of the Absolute, text number 24. Text number 24.
Mm-hmm.
So even the title, The Opulence of the Absolute, so God is full of opulences. That's the definition of God. In Sanskrit, God is called Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulences, and Van means one who possesses. So Bhagavan, full of opulences. So there's 6 opulences: beauty, strength. What are the other ones? Beauty, strength. Help me out.
Knowledge,
Knowledge, yes.
fame,
Fame.
strength,
Didn't I say strength? I think I said that. I said beauty and strength.
renunciation,
Knowledge, fame. Yeah, pronunciation.
wealth.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you'd get that one. That's your favorite one, isn't it?
But
So
ends all my wealth though.
What is it?
so here, these things what we've been talking about is different energies in the energies of God in the material world that can help us to remember Him. So then how's that connected with what we're talking about now, opulence in the title? So these energies, which are energies of God, they're full of these opulences, and especially like if something is for example, very beautiful, we should see that as God's energy. something very beautiful. Like a beautiful big mountain or something like that, very powerful big mountain, and some flowers or something like that, or a sunrise, sunset, the moonlight, the full moonlight or whatever like that. Anything very beautiful, we should remember this opulence is coming from God. Or something that's very strong, like it's mentioned, some of them mention like of aquatics, I am the shark, so the shark is very powerful, very strong. So this opulence comes from God. This is God's opulence. Anything that has some strength, that's coming from God. Anything that has some beauty, that's coming from God. Even a person, some woman may be very beautiful or whatever like that, but that beauty is actually a spark of Krishna's beauty. Why that person is so beautiful is because that is Krishna's energy, that beauty that person has. So it's all originally coming from Krishna, and then we see that beautiful thing. So we can't see Krishna's beauty immediately. We're not qualified to see beautiful Shyam Sundar playing the flute. But we can see some beautiful thing here, and then we should just connect that. Oh, this thing is so beautiful. That's beautiful because Krishna is beautiful. So this thing has got a tiny fragment of Krishna's beauty. This woman or this man has some fragment of Krishna's strength, like that. Or this person is very famous. They've got a fragment of Krishna's fame, like that. Even we could see, how famous Prabhupada became so famous. So many people know about Prabhupada. Why is Prabhupada so famous? Because he's always talking about Krishna. So because of Prabhupada's connection with Krishna, therefore Prabhupada has become famous. He doesn't have his own fame separately, but his fame is coming from Krishna. Because he's connected with Krishna, because Krishna is famous, and Prabhupada's connected with Krishna, therefore Prabhupada is famous. Does that make sense? So yeah, this chapter is talking about energies, but yeah, the title was called The Opulence to the Absolute. So I just wanted to show you the connection between talking about energies and opulence, like that. So all these energies would be um, having one of those 6 opulences. Like of the Vedas, that was in 22. I am Samaveda, so there's knowledge. Of demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. So there's power, strength, like that. And fame also, like that, different things. Okay, let's read the verse 24 then. Purodhasam cha mukyam mam
Purodasam cha mukhyam mam
vidhi partha brihaspatim
viddhi partha brahaspatim
Sainaninam aham Shankar.
skanda
Yes, oh, sorry, Skanda, yeah. I'll do that again. Sainaninam aham Skanda.
senaninam aham skanda
Sarasam asmi sagara.
sarasam asmi saga.
Deepa, Mataji, you want to read the English translation, please?
O priests of priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief Brahaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya, and of bodies of water, I am the ocean.
Hmm. Jayanti, do you want to say something about Brihaspati? Or no, actually, I'll let you say something about Kartikeya. You probably know more about Kartikeya than me.
Well,
So,
first of all, I'd like to make a point that
yeah.
in the original Bhagavad Gita,
Mm.
Prabhupada mentions Brihaspati as the Lord of Devotion.
Oh, okay.
So that translation goes as, of priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief Brihaspati, the Lord of Devotion. Of generals, I am Skanda, the Lord of War. And of bodies of water, I am the ocean.
Mm. That makes a bit of difference. Yeah, definitely.
So
The purport is the same?
I haven't
Oh, you won't
been.
know because you don't
I,
have both there. Anyway, when you hear us read it, or when you read it, then we'll
I
see the
wrote
difference.
here, but yeah, I haven't checked it yet. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, Skanda is Kartikeya. Another name for Skanda is Kartikeya.
No, that's
And
mentioned here. Of generals, I am Kartikeya.
so, Deepa from Malaysia, I mean, you have that big Murugan temple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So same person, same deity.
Kartikeya is the same as Murugan.
And
Yeah,
yeah. And he's
yeah.
considered like the um, chief of the army of the demigods, basically.
Mm. Mm. And when he goes to battle, he rides on a peacock.
Yeah.
Rides on a very special peacock, not an ordinary peacock. A very gigantic and powerful peacock. Mm. Mm. So, Brihaspati. So, Brihaspati is the head priest of all the devas, the demigods. He's like this, so he's like a Brahmana. So he's like the Brahmana priest teacher for all the demigods and guru like that. So it doesn't matter how powerful we are, how big a person we are, but in Vedic culture, you always have a guru. Even when Krishna comes to this earth, he had a guru too. Who was Krishna's guru when he was on earth?
Pandit Panimuni.
Sandapani Muni. Yeah, Sandapani Muni. So Krishna went there to his ashram, the Gurukula, it's called. This is the Vedic system. When you're young, you go to the Gurukula. So Krishna couldn't actually go to Gurukula at the normal time, like 5 years he'd start to go to Gurukula. He couldn't go because of what? What stopped him from going to Gurukula at the proper time?
Because he was fighting Kamsa.
Yeah, he was like hiding from Kamsa. Well, not that he was really hiding, but his parents wanted him to be hidden from Kamsa, and Kamsa was trying to kill him, and so many demons. There's a long list of demons that were trying to kill Krishna, and that went on for like 15, nearly 15, 13, 14 years from his birth. Just after his birth, Putana came. That was the first one that came, just some short time within a few months after he was born, Putana came, right up till when he, went to Mathura when he was about, I think, about 14, 13, 14. He went to Mathura, and then the Kamsa arranged Kulvaliyapida, a gigantic elephant, to try to kill Krishna, and Krishna killed the elephant. And then he arranged the powerful wrestlers, Chanora, Mustika, and many others to try to kill Krishna, and Krishna killed them. And then finally, Krishna pulled Kamsa down from his raised platform dais, pulled him down, straddled his chest, and basically beat the crap out of him like that. And excuse the French. And then then his original parents, Devaki and Vasudev, very happy. And then, of course, they were released after Kamsa was killed because they were imprisoned. His original parents were imprisoned by Kamsa. So when they were released, then they felt so happy to get their child Krishna back. And also they were free to execute their duties as parents, which is one of the important duties for the son, is to send the son to Gurukul. So at that time, Krishna was like 15 or whatever, 14, 15. And that was a bit late start. But anyway, he went there with Balaram because Balaram didn't get to go either because of Kamsa. And then they were sent to this, what's that place called, Jayanti, where Sandapani starts with A, Avanti? Was it Avanti?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
It's called. And then so they were sent there, and in 64 days, Krishna learnt all the 64 Vedic sciences, Vedic arts. So normally it takes years, but Krishna did one subject he learned in one day. He doesn't even need a day, of course, but he's got to show something. And he already is the source of all knowledge. But he still went through the process just to show how important it is. Doesn't matter how big a person you are. You have to have a guru and you have to learn and like that. And even Lord Chaitanya accepted a guru. He's also God. Who was Lord Chaitanya's guru?
That's Ishwar Puri.
Yes, Ishwara Puri. Yeah, yeah. So even Lord Chaitanya had a guru, and some Mayavadi sannyasis at one point in his pastimes, when he had taken sannyas after 24 years, he took sannyas. And then normally at that time in Vedic culture, a sannyasi would be studying the Vedanta Sutras, which is the essence of the Vedic knowledge. And they would be discussing together the conclusion of the Vedas. But Lord Chaitanya wasn't doing that. He was a sannyasi, but he was chanting and dancing, traveling around chanting and dancing. And he got a lot of criticism. Why aren't you doing the normal duties of a sannyasi and studying Vedanta? Why are you chanting and dancing like a madman? And Lord Chaitanya told them in reply that my spiritual master called me a fool and said I should just chant Hare Krishna. Not that Lord Chaitanya is a fool because he's God. I mean, how can he be a fool? But is pointing out that in Kali Yuga, then people are very ignorant, We're not qualified in Kali Yuga to study the Vedas, the Sama, Rig, Atara, Yaja, and the Vedantas, and the Upanishads and everything. The ignorant people of Kali Yuga were all born Sudras or lower than Sudras, and then we're not qualified to study and understand the Vedas. First of all, in Kali Yuga, hardly anyone's interested in the Vedas. And even that rare person that's interested in the Vedas, because they're influenced by Kali Yuga, they're probably not going to be able to understand it. And so pointing out that this is the nature of Kali Yuga, he said that, that you should just chant Hare Krishna. And that is actually the only recommendation for us all in Kali Yuga, is just to chant the holy names of the Lord. And that's called the Yuga Dharma, the recommended process of self-realization in Kali Yuga. The Yuga Dharma is called Hari Nama Sankirtana. That means Hari is God, and Nama is name, the names of God, and Sankirtan means, Kirtan means chanting, and San means together. So to come together and chant the names of God, that's the only recommendation for Kali Yuga, not anything else. You can do whatever you want, but nothing's going to be effective. Nothing's going to produce the perfect results. Even in Kali Yuga, even if you don't chant perfectly, you're still going to get good results out of that, even you don't chant perfectly like that. we know that Narada Muni induced one hunter. He can't get more low class than what he was, just enjoying torturing animals, not even killing them properly, but just wounding them and enjoying seeing that. And Narada induced him to chant the name of Ram. And he said, I can't say that. I can't say Rama. I can't say Rama. Because he's so sinful, he couldn't even say Rama. Well, Narada said, okay, can you say Mara? And Maram is the word for death. He was very happy. He said, yes, I can say Mara. And so Narada said, okay, you just keep saying Mara. Mara, 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 Mara. So in that way, he tricked him. And he got the perfect result. He became Valmiki. He became the great self-realized soul Valmiki after chanting Lord Ram's name like that. So this will bring the good result, even if you don't, do it properly, but you'll get a good result from that. But anything else you try in Kali Yuga especially, you're just wasting time, in Kali Yuga. It won't be very effective. Won't be very effective. And then you might ask, well, why are we bothering reading Bhagavad Gita then? But we're not reading Bhagavad Gita to become great scholars or great philosophers. But we're reading Bhagavad Gita just to please Krishna, because this is also Sankirtan. Sankirtan doesn't just mean chanting the names. There's other kinds of kirtan. There's kirtan of the Lord's pastimes, chanting his pastimes. So that's called Lila Kirtan. And the Lord's qualities, that's called Guna Kirtan. And his form, Rupa. So anytime we're glorifying any of these things, his name, his qualities, his form, his pastimes like that, this is all kirtan. And we're doing it together. We're coming together and glorifying the Lord. So one can glorify any of these aspects of the Lord. And that is recommended for Kali Yuga. We're not just doing it to show off that we know a lot of things, or prove anything, that we're great philosophers, and we're not going to have big debates and see who's the best or anything, but we're just doing it as a service to the Lord and to glorify him, which purifies us. The Lord's very pleased when his parts and parcels glorify him and praise him. Just like, if the children give some nice compliments to the parents will feel very happy, isn't it? To say, oh, to Deepa, oh, Mum, you cooked such a nice meal. We really enjoyed that lasagna and eggplant parmesan. That was so yummy. That was really good. You're such a good cook. Then you're gonna feel very happy that that your children are giving some appreciation and some gratitude and everything like that. And if the children completely ignore the parents, then they don't feel so happy, So when all the Krishna's parts and parcels ignore God, ignore him, then he's obviously not going to be we're not going to get many blessings. But when we praise him and everything like that, it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Hare Krishna or whatever. In every religion, the main purpose is to glorify God. Is to glorify God. So that's a common thread. You can see that common thread, through all the religions, is the main function of the followers to glorify God, like that. So we see also the demigods, getting back to this, the demigods also have a guru. They also have a spiritual master, and that's very essential. That's like the foundation of Vedic culture, is to have a self-realized spiritual master coming in disciplic succession, that's essential. You know, that if you don't have a guru coming into succession in Vedic culture, that means you're in no man's land. You're in nowhere. You know, you're not gonna progress. I was hearing Prabhupada say that, you know, he was talking about different names of different so-called great teachers in India, and he said they were just all nonsense because they don't have a guru. Well, I was trying to remember some of their names. We probably shouldn't mention their names, but I can't even remember their names. But talking about they were all different persons. They're big, you know, highly respected as gurus and so forth. But they don't have a guru themselves. They don't have a guru. They're like self-made guru. And Prabhupada was saying it's just all nonsense. Everything they say is just all mental speculation. You know, they just make up these big philosophies. And even if they have a guru, but if the guru doesn't come in a parampara, in a succession, then that's not going to be effective. That's not going to be correct. That means, you know, if it's not coming, because parampara means the knowledge is coming from God. That's the source of all knowledge, is coming from God. So we have 4 left in Kali Yuga that are remaining. It was God speaking to Lakshmi, that's called Sri Sampradaya. God speaking to Shiva, that's the Rudra Sampradaya, which the Rudra was mentioned in last week's one. And then Krishna speaking to the 4 Kumaras, that's the Kumara Sampradaya. And Krishna speaking to Brahma, Lord Brahma. And that's our Sampradaya. The first disciple was Lord Brahma. And that came down to Narada and Vyasadeva and so forth like that. So it's originally the knowledge is starting with God. So that knowledge is going to be correct because it's coming from God. But if the knowledge is coming from somewhere that's not God, well, that's going to be full of mistakes. Because the nature of every human being is we make mistakes. You know, what are we talked about from the very beginning when we had the soul searching? Things that that every conditioned soul has 4 defects. Can you remember the 4 defects of a conditioned soul? Either of you?
It's subject to illusion,
Yeah,
cheating,
right. Yeah,
propensity, imperfect senses.
yeah. And I
Uh,
said the other one, we make mistakes. We make mistakes, yeah. So those are the 4 defects every conditioned soul has. So if it's just us by ourselves, you know, trying to produce some knowledge, it's going to be full of those 4 defects. So that's not going to be real knowledge. That's not going to be real knowledge. Real knowledge can only come from someone that doesn't have those 4 defects. Someone that doesn't make mistakes, doesn't have imperfect senses, is not subject to illusion, and is not cheating. Then we can get the real knowledge, you know, like that. So this is why, you know, it's so fundamental in Vedic culture to have a guru, a spiritual master, and to receive knowledge from them. That's the whole foundation, and from there we can progress. And in order for that system to work, the disciple has to be humble, because if we're not humble, then even you have a guru who is giving you the knowledge, but if you're not humble, you're not going to accept it. You know, if we're proud, therefore the beginning of Vedic education is you have to become humble. You have to become very humble, and then we can hear from the spiritual master and try to understand, and then practice it, you know, put into practice. And if you have any doubts, if the guru is saying something, you have any doubts, then you have to ask questions. So that's the culture. And also you asking questions, but also you should, out of gratitude, the guru is giving you knowledge, you should render some service. You should render some service. So we can look at that verse, the guru verse in the Bhagavad Gita is 4th chapter, text 34. 4th chapter, text 34. We can read that one. Whoever finds it first can just read the English translation.
Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth.
Mm. And then we can read the next one too, 35. You could read that too.
Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion, for by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine.
Mm. I love this verse. It's nowhere near as popular as the previous verse, but I think that I really get a lot out of this verse. So the 34 is saying, you know, you want to get knowledge from the spiritual master, and this 35 is telling what is the knowledge you're getting. Okay, you will get knowledge from the guru, but what is the essence of that knowledge? The essence of that knowledge is that the guru will impart the knowledge to help you to see that everything is part of God. Everything's connected with God. There's nothing separate from God. What does illusion mean? What is the meaning, the definition of illusion? The definition of illusion, according to the Vedic culture, is thinking there's something that's not connected with God. That's called Maya. Maya means you're thinking there's something not connected with God, like that. That's what Maya is. So we with the knowledge of the guru will help us to get free from that Maya. You'll never again think that there's something that's independent from God, something that has no relationship with God. And you'll always see God everywhere, even in the material world. You'll see, like, and this is that whole chapter we're looking at now, the opposite absolute. When you drink water, you'll see God in that. You'll remember God. When you see the sun, when you see the moon, when you see the mountain, when you see the shark, you know, all these different things. When you hear the sound of Om, like that. So in every particular situation, you'll be able to connect that with God. And this is what we're supposed to be learning from the spiritual master, is how to see God in every situation in the material world and never forget him again. Because that is the very cause of our bondage in the material world, is forgetfulness of God. And the solution is to always be remembering him. And this art of how to always remember him and see him is coming from the guru, what we are learning. So yeah, so it said that the secret of success, and it's mentioned in the purport to that 34, is to please, to satisfy the spiritual master. And in regards to what we're hearing about Brihaspati, the guru of the demigods, this had a massive impact on them. One time, Brihaspati walked into Indra's court in heaven, in Swarga, and Indra didn't stand up to offer him respect. So this is what you should do. When the guru comes in your vision, you should immediately stand up if you're sitting down and bow down, offer some words of respect, you know, offer him a seat at least and so forth. But he didn't do anything. Brihaspati walked in, Indra just didn't even notice him, because he was so infatuated by all the respect that was being given to him as Indra. I'm the big king, he's sitting on his big golden throne, and everyone's saying, you know, all glories to Indra, all glories to Indra, and everything like that. So he was very proud. Said, look, it's the opposite to what I said. The disciple has to be very humble, you know, in front of the guru. So Brihaspati saw, oh, my disciple, you know, he's lost the plot. He's become very proud. So he just walked out. He just walked out. Didn't talk to anyone, didn't say anything. He didn't get angry at Indra or anything like that. He just walked away. And then Indra realized, oh my God, I've offended my guru. He's just gone. And then he went everywhere looking for a Brihaspati and like that, and he couldn't find him. And then he lost the blessings of his guru. And after that, what happened is the demons became more powerful, and he lost his power because he offended his guru. He lost his power, and also part of that was that the demons became more powerful, and then Bali Maharaj, kicked him out. They all the demigods got kicked out of heaven. So the root cause of them losing to the demons was that they had offended their spiritual master and displeased the spiritual master. And on the demons' side, Bali Maharaj had pleased their spiritual master, who is also mentioned in one of these verses as Shukracharya. So Shukracharya is the guru of the demons. So even demons in Vedic culture have a guru, so you can't do away with it. Even you're a demon, you still need a spiritual master. Everyone needs guidance. You can't get anywhere without guidance. So even in our modern atheistic society, right? You want to get anywhere in life, you got to have some teacher, isn't it? You want to learn, how did you learn accounting? You learn it from a teacher. How did you learn, like me, learn gardening? I learned it from a teacher. How did you learn cooking? Well, you go to a cooking class. It means you have a teacher. So you become a lawyer. How did you become a lawyer? You learned from another lawyer as well as the law book. There's two things. You're always going to have the book and the person that knows the book. So you got the law book and the lawyer, and that's how you learn. You want to become a doctor, but how did you become a doctor? From the medical journal, plus you learned from an experienced doctor. So even in some material field, you need a teacher. What to speak of in the spiritual realm, how much more complicated? I mean, spiritual knowledge is vastly more complicated than some stupid material subject like a mobile phone or something. There's nothing compared to the spiritual science is vastly more complex.
I think
And you
Jayanti
can
wanted.
tell that, yeah.
I thought Jayanti wanted to say something earlier. Jayanti, did you?
No, it's all
Okay,
good.
I just but I saw it blink. Okay,
It's
sorry.
hard to know because she's unmanifest. We don't know what she's thinking.
No, I had lunch. I'm going to go soon. I'm going to say bye.
Are you gonna? Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
You haven't
haven't.
had your prasadam.
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's no good. You don't need to,
late.
eh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, yeah.
Mm.
But you know both. I mean, probably you Mirabai. You know me. I mean, you know of
Yeah,
Mirabai. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I thought I saw somewhere that she was so fully devoted to Krishna, but I'm not sure that did she have a guru? I can't remember.
I don't know the whole story of her life. I'm not really sure to comment on that.
Yeah, I thought I saw somewhere in one of my something I was reading that yeah she
But
may
she
not
was
have. Hmm?
so. But she is from a royal family,
Hmm.
so the kings had their own gurus. So she
Mm.
may have had a guru. I mean, not that way. I mean,
Mm.
like is the royal guru, right?
Hmm.
So they have gurus.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know it.
even like Rukmini, Rukmini, how did she become attracted to Krishna was because she's the princess, the king's daughter, Bhishmaka. And then when all these priests and sages would come to the palace to talk to the king, and the daughter would hear it all. So the daughter was hearing all this about Krishna's so beautiful and Krishna's so strong and Krishna's so famous and Krishna's so detached and Rukmini just fell in love with Krishna just by hearing all these priests and sages, in the palace. So yeah, I'm sure she would have got a lot of what she knew about Krishna would have come from her childhood living in the king's palace. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because in Vedic culture, that's not traditional for the woman to have a guru,
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah.
but every woman would be connected with a man, that is, so they'd be connected with a father that he does. Or then they'll get older, they're connected with a husband, he does. And when they're older than that, they're connected with a son, and he does. So in that way, they're connected, like that. And in Vedic culture, the husband is seen as the wife's guru. That's why then in Vedic culture, the word for husband is guru pati. Guru pati. Guru pati. So he's the pati means like master or lord, and guru means like, the teacher, like that. So, and the wife is addressed as Dharma Patni. Dharma Patni. So she's a religious wife. So she follows Dharma, religious principles. So the woman would be very dharmic. They would be strictly following Dharma. It means like very, clean and austere and truthful, and these are like all dharmic things. And very religious. See, and Prabhupada even mentions that if you go in most religious buildings around the world, whether it's Christian, Hindu, Muslim, maximum number in those religious gatherings is women. So the woman, nature is very religious. And we often see that, like you go to a temple or whatever, and maximum is woman there. They're very, very religious like that. So, but in that way, everyone's still connected. Like I said, if the husband has a guru, and then the wife is connected with the husband, and like that. So everyone's connected with someone that's superior person, like that. And the ultimate superior person's God. So then that ultimately means, everyone's connected with God, and so everyone can progress. That's what you want. In Vedic culture, you want everyone to progress. And then the children are connected with the parents. I mean, with the mother, so the husband's connected with his guru, and the wife's connected with the husband, and the children are connected with the mother. So that way, everyone's following someone that's a little bit, more advanced like that. And ultimately, the most advanced is God himself. And that's a very progressive culture. But now we have in society, everyone's independent. And now everyone's going down. The man doesn't have anyone he regards as his superior or authority. And the woman doesn't think anyone's superior or authority to her, like that. And the kids think the same. No one can boss me around. I do whatever I like. And then everyone goes down in the gutter, everyone goes down in like that. So this idea that we're independent is not progressive at all. Actually, in Vedic culture, we learn we're all dependent. The only person that's independent, which in Sanskrit is called Swarat, is God. God is the only one that he doesn't need anybody. God doesn't need anybody. He's self-sufficient. But everyone else is dependent. Everybody. Brahma is dependent. Shiva is dependent. The guru is dependent. Every man, woman, animal, bird, beast, every creature is dependent. Demigod, demon, everyone is dependent. That's why eclipses are such a big problem. Like we had this eclipse we mentioned this morning. Because in the eclipse, what's happening is the sun gets blocked or the moon gets blocked. And that creates a big problem in the whole universe, because we're all white. Why does it create a big problem? Because we're all dependent on the sun. We're all dependent on the moon. If there's no sun, no moon, things don't work anymore. We're depending on them. That's why eclipses are so problematic. Because this something that we're depending on, it's not there, even if it's only for 3 or 4 hours. But that stuffs a lot of things up. It creates a lot of really bad things. like that when we don't have something that when we need. So, anyone that argues that, and say that I'm independent, what a load of rubbish. There's so many things. If you don't have air for a few minutes, you're dead. You don't have water for one day, you're dead. You don't have, food for a few days, you're dead. There's so many things we're depending on, like that. So, we need so many things like that. So anyone that thinks they don't is that's illusion, and they're completely in Maya. So like that, and like getting back to this, we're depending on the blessings of the guru, of our superiors. Even in Vedic culture, you want to get the blessings of your parents. That's why in Vedic culture, when the kids get up in the morning, the first thing they do is go to mummy and daddy and bow down. They bow down to their mum and dad, try to get their blessings of their mother and father. This is culture. This is real culture. Now we have a culture you don't even talk to your mum and dad or whatever. I mean, that's crazy. This is like, so inauspicious like that. And we wonder why things don't work. So, these are all very important things, that so we get that lesson in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Indra, when he offended his guru and didn't get his blessings, then he lost everything. He lost his life, became horrible. And then and later on he managed to sort that out, and then the guru was pleased again, and then they got the kingdom back. Then they got the back, but it's so important. This is the culture of respect. Respect is very important, to respect. And this, God is watching, wants to see, God's watching us and seeing, can you respect your parents? Can you respect your spiritual master? Can you respect, other older people or whatever like that? If you can't, how are you going to respect God? Because the ultimate thing is we're trying to come to the point where we respect God. But how are you going to respect God? You can't even respect the people around you. How's it going to work? You think you're suddenly just by chance going to figure out to respect God and you don't respect anybody else? And it's not going to work like that. First of all, is we need to learn a culture of respecting those that are around us, and then slowly, eventually you'll come to, you can respect God. However, it can work the other way too. Somehow, if you can, but normally it'll be learning from a guru, that to respect God. And once you respect God, then you respect everybody. Because remember, going back to that 435, that you'll learn from the guru that everything is part and parcel of God. So once you respect God, automatically you respect everybody else. So it can be a bit of both things happening, but we also learn how to respect God by first of all practicing on respecting our parents, respect your neighbors, respect your guru, and like that. So we're learning the culture of, how to respect like that. But we do find, like, if someone gets their relationship with Krishna correct and respecting Krishna, then automatically they'll love the neighbors, and automatically they'll love the parents, automatically they'll love black people, white people, they'll love Christians and Hindus and Muslims and atheists, and love the animals. And like devotees, we don't eat animals because we respect them. We don't want to eat them. So automatically, devotee becomes non-violent and very respectful, and because he loves God, because he loves God, so he loves all God's children. He doesn't want to hurt anybody like that. Devotee feels bad, even you hurt some bug or something, you stood on a bug, you feel bad that like that. So this is how consciousness slowly develops. Jayanti, if you're still there, do you want to talk about Kartikeya? No, she's not there.
I'm there.
Maybe.
You there?
She's here.
Yeah, I am there.
Not having masala dosa?
Yeah.
No, I haven't had any since I came here, my dear. Kartikeya. So he's the son of Shiva and Parvati, but he's he also just appeared from, they call Kartikeya girls. I don't know who they are, but they are some kind of heavenly beings who all had one baby each, and they all those babies together, and he merges into one being, and then they give that baby to Parvati. That's how he became Parvati's child.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, he's very well known for, I mean, at least in the south. I mean, he's mostly worshipped in the south of India. I'm not sure why he's not that well known in the northern part of the country or in other parts of the country. And he is very much worshipped for good health. So that's why, especially in places like Malaysia and all, you'll see that they have that Thai Pusam festival, which is a festival celebrated for Kartikeya. And in that, they, as they'll do all these kind of austerities by piercing themselves and all that kind of stuff. And it's all to do a lot with health related things. Am I right?
Okay. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
You want to get
Bhutan.
better health, and by piercing your body, it seems like counterproductive.
No, whether it's just health or other things. I mean, it's like some kind of austerity that they take on. Yeah. But he's
Definitely austerity.
considered, I mean, he is worshipped for good health and
Mm.
or to ward off evil and things like that. Yeah.
Murugan. That's what you said, right?
Murugan, yeah.
Mm.
Skanda, Murugan, Kartikeya. mm, Lots of
Kartikeya sounds like a lady's name, isn't it?
no, no. Actually, and that too, this I think this Kartika Deepam during Damodar month only this festival comes, which is
Mm.
celebrated in the south as well. Kartika Deepam, they'll say
Yeah.
it's a few days before or after Deepavali, I think. After, not before. Yeah. That also has something to do with Kartikeya only. I'm not very much aware beyond that. Yeah.
Hmm. And obviously, he's a very good general. So that's why it says of generals, I am Kartikeya. So yeah, very good on the battlefield, real Kshatriya nature. Very good at fighting. Like we can read the qualities of a Kshatriya in the 18th chapter. Let's just look where it is. 18th chapter. Oh yeah, 43. 1843, the qualities of a Kshatriya.
Mm. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas.
So this is the someone in the mode of passion, and these qualities will be there. And then there'll be a suitable work to go with that mode you're in. So, and like we were mentioning about the priest, right? So the Brihaspati, so he's in the Sattva Gun, the mode of goodness. So in the mode of goodness, which was the previous one. So you can read the previous one, 42.
Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmins were.
Hmm.
Brahmana.
So this is the Brihaspati type. This
Mm.
one here mentioned, and this is the heroism one. This is the Kartikeya type, like that. So, and this is what I find we need to get sorted out, is that this is called Varnashram Dharma. Then when you understand, or what modes of nature the individual's in, and then fit them into a work, appropriate work according to that mode of nature. So, if they're in the mode of goodness, put them into a Brahmana work. If they're in the mode of passion, put them into a Kshatriya work. If they're in a mixture of passion and ignorance, put them in a Vaishya work. And if they're in the mode of ignorance, put them in a Sudra work. In modern society, we don't have that organized. So what we do, someone that's the Brahmana, but he's completely ignorant. So you got a teacher, but he's ignorant, and all the students are going to be completely confused. And the Kshatriya, he's just a coward. Another Sudra. He just has no courage to fight. He'll be running away like that. And the general is in the bunker under the ground. Like Kartikeya, he would be at the front of the battle. That's what a real general is. He's at the front of the battle. And all you have to do to win the battle, you don't have to kill all the soldiers. You just have to kill the general. But good luck to kill the general, because he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mad Max, Superman, everyone put together. He's just so awesome. And like on this Battle of Kurukshetra, right? Battle of Kurukshetra, all these armies came together. There's only one person that had to be killed, and then the whole battle's over. Either it had to be Yudhisthira, or it had to be, on the other side, Duryodhana. Just one of them has to be killed, not everyone. But because both of them are so powerful, then it took a long time, so pretty much everyone did get killed. And that was Krishna's plan, to bring all these demons together and then kill them all. But yeah, in a Vedic battle, you only have to kill the general, but they're just so powerful. But now the modern ones, they're hiding in a safe place under the ground, and all the poor soldiers are getting blown to bits with drones. They're getting blown to bits with drones like that, and then the leaders all hiding away safely in their countries, making big salaries and collecting money and so forth. But yeah, everything's in chaos. Everything's in chaos because people are not being engaged properly according to their nature. But yeah, Vedic culture very scientifically sorts it out. And your nature is generally what you like to do and what you're good at doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's going to produce very good results. Now, often people have a job, they don't like it, and they're not good at it also. And that's terrible. They're going to be very unhappy, and everyone around them is also going to be very unhappy. But in Vedic culture, they like what they do, and they're very good at it also.
Because nowadays it's so impersonal. I mean, the way we educate ourselves, or our education, and then we choose our career path, and then all that. There is not that personal mentoring, coaching, and like with the guru, or where you're nurtured into your strengths. Whereas it's not. It's you choose what you want to do, and then you pass, you fail, you whatever,
Yeah.
and that's it. Yeah.
That's very confusing. I mean, you see a lot of confusion in the young generation now because they don't know what to do in their life, and they're just going from one thing to the next. Sometimes they do one course after another, trying to find something they like, and something they're good at doing. And they can spend a good portion of their life, figuring it out. And sometimes they never figure it out and they just always have a job, they hate it and stuff like that. And even our next door neighbor, this little girl, she's 15 or whatever. And one day I mentioned something about school and she just blurted out, "Oh, I hate school." And it was just so intense the way she said it. Oh my God, I wish I hadn't said that. I'm sorry. She just had such so that's not what you want. When people hate what they're doing, you want people to like what they're doing. I mean, how are you going to learn anything if you don't like it? It's not going to work. So you're just wasting time. And it's very, very unfortunate because the main thing in Vedic culture that's so precious is time. We don't have much. You got what X amount of time, according to your karma, how long are you going to live, 50, 70, 80, 100 years? And all that time is just going out the window without anything real progress happening there. You're born ignorant, definitely, and people still die ignorant. Whereas in Vedic culture, you try to die, you're a bit more enlightened than when you were
Yeah.
born, try to progress. But in modern society, people are just kept in chaos, kept in confusion.
It's universal. I mean, in any culture, it's yeah.
But this is not real culture. It's not,
The
there
time,
is no
right.
culture in Kali Yuga. It's gone, real culture means Varnashram Dharma. This is very scientifically organized by God. This is God's system for how, the human being can progress to spiritual realization. If there's no that's why I'm excited about trying to set that up again, Varnashram Dharma, so that, human beings can, really progress. And because it's so far off track in modern society. And just a little bit more about Kshatriya. Even we see, all these videos in Ukraine that they're like dragging a young man. They like grab him when he's not aware, grab him and try to wrestle him, throw him in a van. This is their recruiting system. This is how they recruit soldiers. They like forcefully, try to drag and grab. They beat the crap out of the person because he doesn't want to go, of course. And how do you expect you're going to get a good fighter out of that? I mean, he doesn't want to fight. It's completely not what he's knows how to do or anything. He's a coward, and doesn't want to fight. And this is not going to work out well. All these poor kids are just going to end up getting blown to bits. And it's not going to help anybody. So the whole society is just, it's completely lost. And that's why we need guru. We need guru to give us direction. Guru means, see, the Brahmanas are compared to the head of society. Just like your body has 4 departments, your body has a head, which gives direction to your body. So the Brahmana is like the head of society. It gives direction. And Kshatriyas are compared to the arms, just like your arms protect your body. So the Kshatriyas protect society. And just like your stomach feeds the body, so the Vaishyas, they feed the social body. And the Sudras, they're compared to the legs. Your legs get you, from A to B. They do some work. Your legs are working. So the Sudras, they do work like that. And all of these parts, just like all these parts of the body have to be there in order for the body to function properly. So the same thing, all these parts of the social body have to be there, especially the head. If your arm is not working, you can live. If your leg is not working, you can live. If your head is not working, you're dead. You know, so that's why Prabhupada, when he set up ISKCON, especially, he was trying to develop a society of brahmanas. So ISKCON is an educational institution. It was especially for that purpose because Prabhupada realized the first thing we need is the brahmanas. But what he didn't manage to achieve before he left was to set up the rest. So he hadn't set up the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas and Sudra part like that. But that's also very important. But the first thing he did, which was the Brahmanas like that. But Varnashram Dharma is more than just Brahmanas. That's the first and foremost. But then you need everything else too, like that. Like if you only have a head, that's also not going to be very functional. No stomach, no legs, no arms. It's not going to be working very well, you know. So ideally, we should have all these things. And then getting back to the verse, we've run out of time, and bodies of water on the ocean. So obviously you've got a puddle over there and a puddle there and a river and a pond and everything. But the greatest body of water is the ocean. So like that. So the ocean is so vast, so great. So that should remind us anytime you see something very great, very vast, very deep, very broad, very wide, it helps us to understand the power and the greatness of God. That this ocean is so big, and this is just a spark of God's energy, a spark of God's greatness, like that. So Prabhupada mentions even very like Aboriginal tribes and things like that, they would have great respect for a big mountain or like that, the big ocean. So this is good. This is the beginning. Prabhupada mentions the beginning of God realization, to appreciate something is much greater than me. Like I said, the worst thing is pride. You know, we have to become humble. So that's very nice. You start to realize, oh, this mountain is so much bigger than me. This ocean is so much bigger than me. You know, then you can not a big jump to realize, oh, God is so much bigger than me, like that. So you know, just developing humility and appreciating others having more greatness like that. So when we see the great ocean, we can remember, wow, this is so big, and this is just a tiny bit of God's creation, but it's so vast like that. So that's very nice also. It's only a small paragraph. Do you just want to read that paragraph, the purport, and we'll leave it at that?
20.
Oh yeah, Gianty, if you're still there, you read it. You haven't done much reading.
He isn't there anymore, not that I can see.
I'm there. I've just been
Even invisible.
listening with. Okay, anyway,
Yeah, read. Yep.
Indra, the chief demigod of the heavenly planets, and is known as the king of the heavens. The planet in which he reigns is called Indraloka. Brihaspati is Indra's priest, and since Indra is the chief of all kings, Brihaspati is the chief of all priests. And as Indra is the chief of all kings, similarly Skanda, the son of Parvati and Lord Shiva, is the chief of all military commanders. And of all bodies of water, the ocean is the greatest. These representations of Krishna only give hints of his greatness.
Very nice.
Okay, I'm running away. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for joining in.
Just
one final thing. In Vedic astrology, one of the most important planets that influencing us here is Jupiter. And in charge of Jupiter is Brihaspati. He is the deity for Jupiter. And that planet is like the guru planet. Yeah. It's very, very auspicious. Jupiter is regarded as very auspicious, very good for us. And often you'll see in the astrological chart of a devotee, Jupiter will be in a good position when you were born. Often like that. That's a sign like that.
We have that Brihaspati on our altar. He's according to, you remember when we went to Patita
Mm,
Bhavan? So
mm.
he asked me to use that yantra.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we have like one of those little square
Mm.
symbols like that. Yantra. Mm.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Tata.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Stay warm.
Yeah, we're so helpless actually. We're so helpless. Even without these personalities like Jupiter, Brihaspati and the sun and the moon, Chandra and Surya and everything, we can't exist. We can't function. Our brain wouldn't work, nothing works. We should be always so respectful and grateful for all the blessings from all these personalities that allow us to exist and try to develop our spiritual awareness like that
Mm,
without their mercy. And ultimately, behind all of them is Krishna. Without Krishna, there is no Brihaspati. Without Krishna, there's no Kartikeya, there's no sun, there's no Indra, there's no moon, like that. So this is all the realization we're trying to
mm,
come to, and being very grateful, and this is the where the bhakti comes from. That the more we become grateful of what God is giving us, then we feel like, I want to do something for you now, God. You've done so much for me. Now let me do something for you. So that's where the spirit of bhakti comes from, that awareness of how much God has done and is doing and continues to do for me and everyone else. And then if that knowledge is not there, then there won't be any feeling to do bhakti. If we're completely ignorant and oblivious of what God is doing for us, then you won't feel like, let me do something like that. So automatically then the gratitude will come when we become aware of what the Lord is doing for us.
yeah. I think all, most, if not all, ancient cultures, they they were very grateful for whatever that they had, that from nature. They were very respectful of nature, and that they were very grateful for what
Mm,
nature provided for them.
yeah,
Uh, I think the whole unfurling of all this was, as I as I caught on one of the YouTubes, was, the colonization undid a lot of things, and yeah, set the stage for all this pillage and plundering, and yeah, commoditized everything, and
yeah.
and yeah, so, but now hopefully we can we can do better. I don't know. It
Mm,
seems like an uphill struggle.
mm.
Mm.
Humanity's really getting slapped around a lot at the moment. And
Mm,
but one good thing that can come out of that is if we come down off our big horse, our big ego, and become humble, and if we can come
mm,
back to just living in respect and gratitude for God's gifts and everything, then things can improve. But yeah, as long as we're arrogant and proud and think this is all my property and I can do whatever I like and it's all for my enjoyment, and just I'm going to keep exploiting and abusing everything, as all my property and everything, then yeah, we're just going to be continually punished until we can come out of that. Because the attitude is so bad when we think this is all mine, this all belongs to me, that we're like God, we're trying to play God's role. So this is
Yeah.
all meant for my enjoyment. And then you put all these so-called gods together, 6, 7, whatever it is, 8 billion people that act like they're God, and that it's all my property and everything like that. It's for my enjoyment. And then you put all them together and you get war. And we see that.
Mm.
It's everywhere. It's like just war, 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 war. Because everyone thinks this is mine, and it's for my enjoyment. It belongs to me. It's my property. And you put all these people together, it becomes a very conflicting situation. Whereas if you understand like Vedic culture, there's only one proprietor, that's God. God is the proprietor and he's the enjoyer of everything. He owns everything. Everyone else is a servant. You can put 7 billion, 700 billion servants together and you'll get peace and harmony. But you put even 2 gods together, there's going to be war. Like that. And a good example is dogs. You put
Mm.
2, 3, 4, for any number of dogs together, you're going to get fighting. Because that's just the nature of a dog, is just to fight. Because they all think this is my property, isn't it? Every dog is, this is my property. What are you doing on my property? Like that. So, like our dog is peeing on all the boundary things, so all the other dogs can stay away, don't come in here. And it's interesting, if you see a dog pee on a place, the other dog will pee over that. Have you ever noticed that? They'll pee on top of it.
It's
Even
sure that
even like, because I also pee on the plants. So if I pee on a plant, then Vajra the dog will come and pee over my pee. This is mine. It's not yours,
he's
it's mine. I put my mark on it. It's just, but the human beings develop that same doggish mentality, you know. This land of America is mine, this land of China, of Russia, of Ukraine, of blah, 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 Israel, and like that. We have to increase Israel. We have to make Israel bigger, and we have to reduce Palestine and make Israel more bigger. This is all dog kind of consciousness. And it just leads to destruction,
mm,
which is such a shame. And it's because, there's no guru, there's no one giving proper direction. So they think that's their life, is just to be a dog. There's nothing other than more greater than just being a bigger dog. We have to
mhm.
become a bigger dog. This is very unfortunate to see. But, material nature arranges a few slaps, and hopefully we get a few, just like the parents, sometimes the children get out of line. The parents give a few slaps, and then hopefully the children come into line.
Back into line. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, lovely to get together with you again.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Come
Yeah,
on.
I just been a bit flat out. Last week I was working on Thursday. Yeah, so yeah, it's